So that girl that said, if you weigh more than 160 pounds, like you essentially don't deserve to exist. Let me tell you this. My sister was about a year and a half older than me. And all through high school, she was like perfect. She had a perfect body. She was like, I don't know, 5'1", probably weighed 110 pounds. She was blonde, petite. You get it. When she went away to college as a valedictorian on an academic scholarship, about 2 months in, she was violently essayed by two people, and that set off like a snowball effect in her life that led to incredible depression and PTSD and obviously the need for a lot of therapy and things like that. And she spiraled into addiction. She just could not get the events of those like 30 hours that she was held captive out of her head. And she used any and all means necessary to try to escape those demons. And so for the next probably 10 to 12 years, she fought addiction really, really hard. And, again, we're talking like she was homecoming queen, valedictorian, class president, the whole nine yards, right? She was not someone who just woke up one day and decided to be a drug addict. Life really fucked her over. And then she got clean for a couple of years and had a minor setback, and then she was able to get clean for about 18 months, and she, through, good, hard work on her part, was able to come to a good place with the help of that work and with the proper medications. She was back in school, about to graduate. She was working full time. She had time back in her life with her daughter. She was welcome at all of our family functions. Like she was back, she was back. But throughout the course of those like 18 months of her like really working hard and finding the right medications and things like that, she gained a good amount of weight, and she was not a person who was ever overweight. In fact, she was a person who was never overweight. And she didn't have to work for that. That was just, she was one of God's favorites in that way. But she had gained, a decent amount of weight, and she just, she was not comfortable in her body, but like one thing at a time, right? She was really trying to get her life back on track after, a decade plus of fighting incredible demons that someone else in this world put on her. And there was like on Snapchat at the time, you could like anonymously like send things to people, and someone sent her a message and said, "You used to be so beautiful, and now you look like a sack of potatoes." And that absolutely crushed her, because she was putting in so much work to regain her life and to just be comfortable in her body and in her brain, and she was still reduced to what her body looked like. And within about 3 to 4 weeks, she was like obsessing over the fact that that's probably what everyone thought of her, is that she looked like a sack of potatoes in this new body that recovery had given to her. And so and at the time, there were not like safe alternatives for weight loss, like the Wegovy's and the Ozempics and all of those things. And she had a friend who was seeing a doctor and getting phentermine prescribed to them, and she just was hyper fixated on the fact that everyone thought that she looked terrible. And so she went to see this doctor, and despite her massive history of depression and bipolar disorder and addiction and all of these things, this doctor gave her a prescription for the phentermine. And within about 6 weeks, she was just absolutely spiraling, and she ended up relapsing and overdosing and dying, all within about a 3-day period. I was the first to know that she died because the 911 operator who took the call and received the notification of her death and that her ID said her name, she knew she was my sister. And so they showed up at my front door to tell me that my 36-year-old sister was dead. And I was tasked with telling my mom and my dad and my siblings and my grandmother and oh, let's not forget my sister's daughter. She had to, be told as well. And so it is always interesting to me that people like you will put such an emphasis on someone's worth based on what their body looks like, when I promise you my sister was 1,000 times the person that you will ever be. She is not just some addict who, died, okay? She was the strongest, most resilient, most relentless person that I have ever met in my life. And the fact that someone's words reduced her so low in regards to what her body looked like after all the things that she had been through in her life sickens me so badly. You are someone who has no depth to your soul. You are someone who has nothing other than a small figure. And just because your gravitational pull on this earth is a little bit less than some other people means nothing when you are the kind of person that you are inside. And so to you, I hope and pray that you find something more meaningful in your life than other people's bodies and what they look like and judging them for it. Because again, I promise you, there are so many people out there who are far better people than you, who may have a little more gravitational pull on this earth than you do, and you could probably learn a lot from them. Words are very powerful, okay? They are. And I may be strong enough to not put any weight on words of someone as shallow as yourself, but some people are not in that position to just let that roll off of their back so easily. And so to those people, I tell you, you are beautiful, regardless of what your scale says, and you're worth far more than any one person on the internet reduces you to being.